The moon and the sun have a symbiotic relationship because if there's a resonant frequency that's being produced by this machine, not only is it holding together the actual life that exists on Earth and all of the third dimensional aspects of our existence, then it's also holding together the sun. Yes, the sun. And that means that the outer layer of the sun, or I believe the outer layer of the sun, is being held together by this. And it's also a generator based on our frequencies on Earth that's actually powering the moon machine. So in essence, if the moon machine shuts down, the outer layer, or the light that is carried by the outer layer of the sun, will actually begin to shed as it is doing right now, which we call CMEs, or they're saying X-class solar flares, basically. As more X-class solar flares start to happen, and we get this increase within the solar maximum of the sun actually shedding to reveal the black sun underneath, what is happening is right now you have an increase on the sightings of the aurora borealis, which is a reflection of where our sun is and how it's shedding its light from the outer. Is basically affecting the light within the sky, or the spectrum that exists or that is being projected from the moon matrix resonance. So this symbiotic relationship seems or appears to be on a breakdown because we are changing the resonance by awakening, changing our paths by having different understandings, and changing our minds, and just pretty much shifting the resonance by awakening within the matrix. All of us are doing this together. What that means is, as the sun is creating these solar X flares, that is increasing the earthquakes and the natural disasters that we have on Earth on a regular basis, and pretty much shifting the tides and all of the different frequencies, because everything is pretty much coming apart. It's basically saying that as this moon matrix becomes destroyed, all of the things that are held together will start to unravel, because there is no longer a resonant frequency holding all of the matter in its place. So this scripture talking about the mountains moving out of their places, that's pretty much explaining what will happen once this particular moon machine shuts down and the resonant frequency is no longer holding everything in place, which you can see happening already as the earthquakes and all of the natural disasters begin to increase on planet Earth. So once the moon machine shuts down, it says here that the sun will become black as sackcloth. So after the moon machine shuts down and the sun becomes black or turns into a black hole, it says here that the stars will fall from the sky. If my theory is correct in terms of this moon machine being a projector, at the points of light that are in the sky that we call the stars are pretty much satellites, basically, that this particular moon machine is projecting off of to create the sigils that exist within the sky. They are basically points of lights in the sky. So it makes sense that once this machine shuts down, the lights in the sky will begin to fall, because everything that is holding them together is the resonant frequency that is produced by the moon machine. This is when all of the people who have been working so hard to orchestrate this fiasco of an existence that we have will begin to run and hide and try to hide in the mountains from the face of the person that sits on the throne to keep them from getting in trouble. After the moon machine shuts down and the sun is now able to shed its entire outer layer, that light will be then dispersed into the atmosphere. And basically you'll be left with a new sun, which is like a fresh sun underneath, which we will call the black sun. I don't know if you've ever heard that song by Soundgarden called Black Hole Sun, Won't You Come Wash Away the Rain, right? That particular song music video, I highly recommend you go and watch it, because it is a good description of what will actually start to happen when this particular thing shuts down and the sun is now black. Now I will go on to explain the gravitational singularity of the black hole sun, the macronova frequency reset rapture event. I will plug in a diagram so that you can follow along with this particular decode that I did quite a bit ago on what is actually going to happen when the black sun presents itself and what is going to happen to the people on Earth. And don't worry, at the end of this, I will provide you with a diagram as well as record in future videos the things that you can do in order for you to survive this particular event if you're willing to do so. So pretty much these two twin flames, or two witnesses coming together, or these two Christ energies, or the last descendants of the bloodline of Christ coming together, creates the macronova frequency reset, which is a form of rapture, like the rapture that people talk about in the Bible, one taking the other left. This is pretty much a rapture of love. Caught up in the rapture of love. So this also ties into the red Kachina, blue Kachina Hopi prophecies of the Hopi Indians in America, or the Native Americans within America. And pretty much this is depicting the process of the black hole sun, as you can see in this diagram. It's talking about sun as the red sun shedding its outer layer and pretty much revealing the black sun underneath. And once the black sun is revealed, what's going to happen is basically you have this black sun, you're going to have some days of darkness as this sun acclimates itself to the environment, meaning that it's super like dense, dark, and hot, there's going to be nothing but darkness. But then it's going to need some time to make an adjustment. Once it gets into the environment and meets the oxygen and elements of the atmosphere, it's going to begin to cool itself because it's very dense and hot and turn the color blue. This is the red and blue Kachina. So before we get into this, watch this YouTuber Up and Atom explain the mathematics of the gravitational singularity or the black hole event. And I will get into a little bit more detail about that after you watch this clip.
So do you guys remember in math class when your teacher was like, you can't divide by 0 because that's undefined? Let's take the function 1 over x and plot a few points. When x is 1, y is 1. When x is 0.1, y is 10. And when x is 0.01, y is 100. And if we want to get crazy, when x is 0.00000000001, y is a really big number. So you can see that as x gets really small, y gets really big. If we want to put this into math talk, we can say that as x approaches 0, y approaches infinity. So it's pretty tempting to just say that when x equals 0, y equals infinity. But what about when x is negative? If we plot y for negative x, we see that as x approaches 0, y goes to negative infinity. So what's y at x equals 0 then? Well, mathematicians don't know. They couldn't come up with a good answer, so we just say it's undefined.
The number 0 is very much interchangeable with the number 9, and it will not change any of your math if you use it. Just like 360, if you want to add 3 plus 6 equals the number 9, even if you add the number 9, 3 plus 6 equals 9, plus 9 equals 9, 9 plus 9 equals 18, 1 plus 8 equals 9. The math does not change. So therefore 0 and 9 are absolutely interchangeable. So as you can see here, by replacing 0 with 9, you come up with the actual math for the event, which gives you the sequence of ones, which 1 can also represent a door, which I believe pretty much opens up this knock knock neo moment where we are introduced to the singularity or the individualism of the freedom of opening all doors basically into multiple realities. The color black does not have a frequency. It does not have a resonance. It's pretty much the absence or complete absence of light, which would explain the days of darkness that's within the prophecy within the Bible and a lot of people talk about. It's pretty much like the womb space has no light. The 0 or the egg is where all of life is birthed. And pretty much this black hole will not, or this black hole sun basically, will not produce any light, and there will be nothing but darkness. And all of the light that was shown from the sun will no longer be. So what happens once the sun sheds its skin and there's nothing but darkness and the sun itself has turned completely black and there's no more light to see any of the vast frequencies in the earth?